What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to talk about construction and kind of like the initial process. What does it look like, especially if you have an SBA loan, and especially if that construction cost is over $350,000, which it might be depending on what size of building you have and the extensiveness of your actual remodel or whatever it might be. So first, like, comment, subscribe, become a sub, go to carepreneur.co, get yourself a Carepreneur shirt or a mug or glass. They got all sorts of cool stuff on there, man. Just do it, you know? It makes me feel good. It makes me like want to keep going. So in this one, we're gonna talk about these kind of like the process leading up to the time that you're actually doing construction. And you wanna think about these things ahead of time because the construction process, especially in today's world, is going to take a long time. I mean, you're gonna try to order something and they're gonna be like, oh, it's, what do you call it, delays and this, and oh, we're out of stock, or oh, it's not, the permit didn't get approved, or we're behind. But the age that we're living in today, there's always there's always a delay. It seems like whatever you want, is just not available. So you have to be prepared to find alternatives. So that being said, it would be very important that even as you're starting this process and you haven't signed a lease yet, I would still go and try to find a GC that you like and that you would feel comfortable working with. Just go find different general contractors in your area, go see the work that they've done, get an idea of the type of quality of their work. Are they responsive? Do they get back to you? Do they have a professional office staff? Just start kind of interviewing these different general contractors. Don't waste your time. You don't want to sit there and spend all day on the phone and never make any forward progress with them. But just my point is you want to get an idea of what is it going to be like to work with this potential general contractor, and you want to identify a couple that okay, as soon as I go forward with a letter of intent with that particular unit, wherever I'm going to be, that I'm going to at least have a couple of different general contractors that I can bring in and kind of give them the idea of what type of remodel we're trying to do. That being said, once you hire your general contractor, a lot of times they can go ahead and they can recommend an architect to you, or that could be someone else that you could go ahead and look for yourself. Again, this is going to be one of those things where if you want to interview your own general contractor, you want to interview your own architect, these things might be up to you, but a general contractor might have an architect that they work with, and getting a general contractor that works with an architect and they already have a working relationship can save you a lot of time because they already understand each other. They already understand how to overcome certain obstacles, whereas you get two new guys together and they might butt heads and it might cause problems for you, and all it's going to just be a delay on your end. So that being said, just take into consideration that when you're hiring an architect, or when you get to the phase where you actually have the space leased and now you got to actually go through this process, there's the number one most important thing that you need to figure out immediately is how do you want to lay out the space? What is the floor plan going to be? Because the reality of it is that everything that you're going to need to get quoted for when it comes to all of your subcontractors, when it comes to say drywall quotes, electrician quotes, plumbing quotes, all these quotes, you're going to need a floor plan first so that these guys know where the plumbing is going to go, where the electrical is going to go, so that they can actually give you a proper quote. And so just be prepared that the first thing you want to have in mind as you're identifying the space is start already on paper drawing out the floor plan. How do you want the space to look? How do you want it to feel? Just start drawing it out. Start getting an idea of where things should be, okay? Because when you get to the time to sit down with the architect, you want to be prepared to do that because everything else is going to be depending on that floor plan. And then you're gonna have to go through probably a structural process to make sure, okay, everything you've designed in there, is it structurally safe? Is it structurally sound? Is there anything that has to do with a structural, wall or beam that might need to be taken care of, that at least might need to be shored up? You're gonna then go into this process of once the floor plan's laid out, okay, where does the electrical go? So just be prepared that you're gonna have to know okay, where do I want my outlets? Where do I want my Ethernet cords? Where do I want all these things? Where do I want my plumbing? Where do I want my bathrooms? Where do I want my hand washing sinks, where do I want my shower, whatever the case might be, And then you're also gonna just be prepared that you're gonna have to hire someone, and this might be a separate company, this might be part of someone that your architect knows, to do energy calculations. And if you're not familiar with what that is, it's basically saying you're hiring an engineering company to figure out what the loads should be for your heat and your air. So if they're trying to figure out, okay, well, how much air should be pumped into this room versus that room? So you have these things called energy calculations or energy load calcs, and these things are not cheap. If you're looking at a 6,000 to 8,000 square foot space, just plan to spend $10,000 if you're gonna have to re-engineer the floor plan, because they're gonna have to rethink through all of the AC duct work. How does it work? Is the piping shipping size, the right size for that type of unit. It's complicated, and there is going to be an engineer involved to design all that stuff for you. And so that is going to cost money as well. Then you're going to move into the permitting phase. Once all this stuff is done, then you're going to have to apply for permits. And if you're working with a bank, then especially if you're working with the SBA 7A loan, before you can even get funded for any of this stuff, you're going to have those permits in hand. So if you're working with an SBA loan, especially a loan that is over $350,000, where there's going to be like someone involved, like the bank is going to be involved in your construction process, on top of the county and the city and the GC and the architect and the engineer and everyone else that's going to have their little hand in it somehow, you're going to be working with the bank. And now, because the bank is funding such a large construction project, they're going to want to be involved too. So guess what? They have their very own inspector. So you have another person that is going to be involved in the process. So what's going to happen is you're going to get the permits, the work's going to begin, and then at some point in time, you're going to have a bank inspection. So a person from the bank, a representative, a third party is going to come out and just kind of like inspect on behalf of the bank. If everything looks good and is in the work that was submitted to have been completed, it checks out, then the bank will issue a payment directly to the contractors, and we'll start the process all over again, where we'll resume the work, and then the bank will inspect, and the bank will issue a payment, and it's just going to go through this fun process. So be prepared for delays, and make sure that whatever it is on your end that you can prevent, or you can minimize the amount of time it's going to take for you to get it done, get it done. Get it done as fast as, get that thing off of your plate as fast as possible, because you're gonna have to be managing everyone else's plates as well. And the last thing you want it to do is get stuck on your plate, because you're the only one that has control in that situation. So the faster you can get it off of your plate and onto someone else's plate, the better, because then you can get it moving through the process again, because your delays are gonna be depending and relying on everyone else who's just bogged down with as much work as you could possibly imagine. So it's going to be very important that you are going to be a micromanager of the GC and the architect and everyone involved in this process, because you're going to have to force this thing through the system. You're going to have to be that squeaky wheel that just needs a little bit of grease and makes everyone go, okay, I'll take care of it today. So you definitely need to push hard and push all of this stuff through, and just pay attention to where you're at in the construction process. Pay attention to where everyone is, make sure they're giving you deadlines. Ask for, hey, when do you think you'll have this completed by? Okay, you'll have it done by then? All right, great. I'll call you a couple of days before then. So now you're riding them. They know, okay, all right, it's freaking, it's Chris calling again. We got to stay on top of it, okay? Because he's going to drive us crazy if we don't. So you want to be in that position if you want to get it done in a timely manner. Otherwise, you're going to sit here for months and weeks and years. And before you know it, it'll be 2 years from now, and you'll finally have completed this construction project, and you'll be so exhausted, you may not even want to open the place anymore. So this is a very important part of the process. And it's an important part of the process where you got to make sure you're paying attention, and you're staying on top of everyone's jobs, everyone's responsibilities, making sure that they're following through on their end. So that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this one. If you want to learn more about how to open up your own adult daycare, if you want to join our private Facebook group, go to adcpro.com. You can also join our monthly webinars, and we have all of this content right here on YouTube. But you got stuff on operations, licensing, marketing, finance, all good stuff. So join us on the next one. I got to get back to work. You better get back to work. Let's get back to work. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to learn how to open your own adult daycare center, go to adcpro.com. If you'd like the latest business tips, click here, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. Click here. We'll see you guys next time.